cries that come from the depth of all that is known and unknown go unanswered today. I would assume that you are here for the same reason I am here. Where else can we go to find some form of hope in the middle of all the insanity of Uvalde, Texas, and Buffalo, New York? In the absence of an emotionally stable ground to stand on, and in a spiritual desert of shattered innocence through violence. It is hard to have just sung a joyful song of praise when all I want to do is raise my fist and scream, why? But this is why I am here. I need both. I need to know hope in the midst and in the middle of my anger. I need to know there is more in this world than violence in word and deed. Statements, many statements are all the rage these past few weeks, if you haven't noticed. Statements about God, about government, about political figures, about law enforcement, about racial oppression, about the life of children and the anguish of parents. Statements often short and sweet, repeated and repeated again and yet again, hoping that if we say them enough and repeat the statements about amending laws, thoughts and prayers, guns and money, something might actually change. These words have been said before, and they are said once again, just 2 weeks after 10 were killed, after 4 days, after 19 were killed. The outcast and the innocent become numbers, as they have in the past, while statements never change, nor do the actions of our communal life. In certain circles, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you have come here today with anger at God, at God's absence in Buffalo and absence in Uvalde, if you have asked God in no uncertain terms, where are you? Where is your love, your compassion? And I'm not sure I can have any faith left in you ever again. And feeling as though you did not get an answer. If this is you, welcome. For those in these walls and in these pews and on this screen, welcome you. I welcome you. And I stand with you, with my anger close at hand. Hide not your face from me, O God, nor turn away your servant in displeasure. If you have come here today, having prayed and with tears streaking down your face, imagining what it must be like for those parents and grandparents because you are a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or a friend or plain and simply a human. If this is you, welcome. For those in these walls and in these pews and on this screen, welcome you, for I welcome you as well as I stand with you in your tears, with the same wailing, the same fear. Blessed are those who mourn, for you will be comforted. If you have come here today with righteous anger and a burning rage to change the world in the name of God, of love, in the way you may feel as though even that God is so far away and it will not stop, welcome home. For in these walls and in these pews and on this screen, we welcome you. I welcome you. And I stand with you and I walk with you. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. If you have come here today hoping for hope, longing for something you cannot name, something that is beyond words, that sit in your belly, begging to be named, begging to be given voice. If you have come here with such longing, welcome home. For those in these walls and in these pews and on this screen, welcome you. I welcome you. And I seek the hope you seek, the peace you seek, and yet something yet unnamed that we all seek. Let everyone who is thirsty come. Let anyone who wishes take the water of life as a gift. The water of life comes in many forms, from many and varied places, but from the same source. A teacher from Parkland, Florida, who survived a mass shooting in her school in 2018, spoke up this week and echoed many of the reasons we may be here today. Kimberly Krozik offered these words to the Robb Elementary School community. You will hate God. You will thank God. You will find the fire to move forward. In her statement, still short and yet possibly, hopefully, easily remembered, there is substance, there is meat, there is a truth. Kimberly heard the same shots. She knew the same anguish and pain. She knows how to wake up every day and go back to class and teach. She speaks from lived experience. She talks plainly, calmly, and with hope. She speaks knowingly or not from the source of the water of life, strangely and yet not. I suggest we come here because we hope that God too has been there. We hope, pray, and show up this day because someplace deep down inside, the violence, the hollow words, and hard ammunition is not the human dream or the hope God has for us. We are looking for answers to the questions that we hope for in this space, and that this preacher might be able to answer. We have come together this day. We come to church Sunday after Sunday, or possibly this is your first day here because we need to know there is more than what we see. We come because we need strength to help create a world we know in the image of God who doesn't leave us. A God who is with us, a God who loves us in the image of Christ, that knows life beyond violence. For he too has lived that violence, and that death is not God's final word. Life through Christ has it. Life means all of life. All of those things that I have named, our angers, our tears, the fire in our belly for this community, town, region, state, to step off the wheel of insanity and reflect a world in the peace of God, beating our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks. All of life includes all of these moments, even when there is seemingly no hope. I started my thoughts today by saying cries that come from the depth of all that is known and unknown go unanswered today. I hold that as true, except for one place, and that is here. The authorities and psychologists comb through the lives of the assailants. They always uncover an individual who is a loner, right? Who sticks to himself, who is often isolated by choice or by force from family and friends, if there's any to be found. William Kavanaugh, a theologian, an observer of the 20th century Chilean dictator Pinochet, witnessed verbal and physical violence at the hand of a totalitarian state. And at times, the church, too, was complicit in the torture in word and deed. We know what happens when church and state link arms. Seldom do the teachings of Jesus guide. Torture creates fearful and isolated bodies, he says, and we see that alive and well, not only in the lives of the tortured souls of the assailants. Where was their family? Where was their school, their community to ensure they did not go down that path? But in the aftermath of this violence and pain and death, they created for us, we Americans, for retreating, for isolating once again into our own self-proclaimed echo chambers, all the while building walls of isolation that he so spoke eloquently about. Our bodies, our real physical bodies, our very lives are tortured by ourselves. The life of God in us is driven out. Kavanaugh offers not an answer, nor certainly not one that feels like an answer we are hoping for. He writes, isolation is overcome in the Eucharist, in the building of a communal body which resists the state's attempt to disappear it. For the Christian community, the only voice we have is our collective cry from the depths of God's being, a God who knows as we know, a God who knows our torture, our pain, our death. The acts of gun violence is from the inaction of our collective life. Sanctioned, isolated chambers that is only broken through with the violence of death on Good Friday from the cross. We gather here to break the isolation of death, cry out to God from God's very being through bread broken and shared, through our bodies broken and the world made whole. The silent tomb of Good Friday, Good Saturday rings through our souls, but our very lives are gathered here on the feast of the resurrection. Yes, today is Easter Day as we remember Sunday after Sunday that defies separation and isolation. The cry, our cry, breaks through our very step, our very move that keeps us alone, our very breath that keeps us bound and breaks the systems that keep us there. Cry out, I say. Let us wail, I say. This table is not an easy and clean answer. It is, however, a way of everyday life, of tears, of anger, of hope, and of longing. This table will not allow us to keep the status quo of isolation. This table will not give us permission to stay silent, no matter how comfortable silence is. This table empowers life, our life. The cries that come from the depth of all that is known and unknown go unanswered today and emanate from our death. Together we weep and mourn, praise and give thanks to the one who says there is more than death, more than guns, more than hollow words. Together, we step into the pain, into the chaos, because we know death and we know life, no matter how scary, no matter how fearful, no matter how much we may doubt. Together through a simple meal of bread and wine, shared at death's door. In it, we will find the fire in our bellies, and our faith will move forward. We will find the fire to pound our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks. We will find the fire to break the insanity of the culture we call home. It is here, it is this table, it is this meal, it is this gathering where the cries are heard and our cries are answered.